Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that will be a bigger car wreck than the presidential debates. I'm your host, Ryan and Scotty, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing today?
Oh, you shouldn't ask me how I'm doing today first. It should be you. This was your birthday week.
That's true.
We celebrate the birth of Ryan, which
Yes.
I didn't celebrate it. I just said happy birthday, but you did. So, like, how did that go?
It went fine. I worked. My birthday was on a Wednesday, so of course I worked and then did errands after the fact.
But you got to watch AEW Dynamite?
No, one of the errands I had to do was pick up my wife's car from the auto shop, and because of that, I didn't watch live. I watched that at work the next day. I don't think I watched any wrestling on Wednesday.
Okay, all right.
Look, here's the thing, Scotty. I'm firmly in my upper 20s. I know there was a slight age difference. I'm firmly in those upper 20s. The two cheeks that are the mid 20s and the 30s. I'm firmly within those cheeks.
What the?
I'm firmly within the upper 20s, and we reached a point, Scotty, where years ago you could have a fun birthday where you eat your entire birthday cake in multiple sittings over the course of a week, and I'm long past that, Scotty. That is a century ago to me. Now I'm at the point
So what you're saying is you just ate the birthday cake all in one sitting.
Exactly right. I ate it all in one sitting. No, this year, my wife Jessie got like a confetti bunt cake. Like sort of the round.
The bunt cakes. Yeah.
Yes, it was really good. From Everything Bunt Cakes is what the name of the place.
I think it's called Nothing Bunt Cakes.
God damn it! I can't even do the shout outs correctly. I think you're right. I think it is nothing.
I think I only know that because I've seen one of them.
Yes, nothing bunt cake is what it's called. Yeah,
clever name, by the way. We will take you as a sponsor.
We will, and don't use this as free advertising. No. I'm going to cut all of this out in post. Even though we're live right now, I'm going to cut all of it out in post. So we're going to bleep the name.
Cake. That's a good.
It was really good. It was really good cake. We didn't do anything really this weekend. Just it's been like 90 plus degrees over here every single day, and it's rained the past 4 days as well. So it's like I'm not going outside.
Outside, it's like you're putting your hand outside, and you're like, no, not today.
It is literally, like I said, 90 plus degrees, and then you have humidity that is so high that by the time the afternoon rolls around, you get rainfall.
That's the South, from what I know.
Pretty
hot, nasty, kind of unlivable some days. Sounds about right. The humidity is, at least for me, because we get bad humidity sometimes. Mm-hmm. That's the real driver. I can deal with hot, like heat air, but it's when I feel sticky that I'm like, nope. I'll see you next time.
I think that was the birth of a new nickname, Sticky Scotty Edwards.
No. You already started with that image. No. You already started with that image.
With Sticky Scotty Edwards.
You already started the show with that image. We are not even 10 minutes in. YouTube picks up all this. This is when they check.
I didn't say anything inappropriate. You can't prove that. The subtext is one thing. I did not distinctly say anything inappropriate.
You maybe they'll understand because it's your birthday week and they're like, all right, he's just in some cheeks. Like, we'll just let him go. Should
we talk wrestling or no?
No.
Is this the show?
This is what our show has become over the past few weeks and months. We don't talk about the wrestling for like a good half hour. That's when we'll see that later. We have time today.
You'll get your fill of wrestling.
Yeah. Did Forbidden Door add like 75 more matches after? Yeah, it did. Will we talk about them? I don't know.
Probably.
I'm trying to get Ryan out of the cheeks right now. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Do you want us to talk about WWE Money in the Bank? Maybe. But listen, again, Ryan's eating cake while stuck in cheeks. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Look,
So,
it's in. By the way, when you're getting to the upper 20s, you have to start eating healthier. You have to start. I have to go over and like eat. Better food for me. Eat a lot more greens, a lot more salad. So like I'm over here on the weekend as well. I'm in the cheeks.
so
I'm eating cake.
say.
I have to toss salad.
So I need everyone to know. Like that pitch that you just said. After like every time we have a conversation, this motherfucker gets Taco Bell. So like this is a lost conversation.
Last week I think I had Buffalo Wild Wings. I think is what I had.
Wings, beer, sports. That's their
tagline.
That's fair. That's fair.
Look,
your week was good.
I don't think any other show is as chaotic as ours. As any other like I feel like we have good like wrestling analysis and thoughts, but I think you do also a really good job at being chaotic and weird and dumb.
I don't think people come here anymore for the wrestling and thoughts. That's just that's just an added bonus. It's for what chaos will follow on this show, and what's most important is you had a good birthday week. I didn't have a good week, so I'm happy someone did.
Yeah. What is it bad? Is it mine? Do I mind?
It's pretty terrible. I got let my job. So like not great. Yeah, not great. That kind of happened out of nowhere, but we're balling. We're moving forward. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, that's fair. That's disappointing, Scotty. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. We move forward. We have a fun show to do today. We will talk about the wrestling.
Yes, we will talk about the wrestling. We'll talk about all the new matches that were added to Forbidden Door in the 0 hour. We'll talk about
since we've previewed it. Was it like 6? Did like 6 matches get added since we had a conversation about
something like that? It was a really good amount. Like it was a lot more than I think most people were expecting.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have 2 recordings of ring posts tomorrow." And I was like, "What? Come again?" They're like, "Oh well, Forbidden Doors tomorrow night." I was like, 14 match card, and then I record again. Oh my god!
To be fair, we're not going to be recording twice today. We're going to be recording one today and then one at midnight.
Here's to you. Good call.
Tomorrow morning. Yes, we'll be talking about all the additional matches for Forbidden Door that were added. WWE's Money in the Bank is upcoming as well this upcoming Saturday. We're going to talk about some contract news of Donovan Dijak. And we're going to kind of do our mid-year review. I think this is a good time. We have a little bit of an opening. The only real big things happening right now are Forbidden Door, another WWE pay-per-view. But beyond that, there's some shows here and there, some things to talk about. I think we'll just all kind of lump that into sort of a mid-year review. We've talked about how we wanted to do this for a little bit, and I think now's the proper time, the prime time to talk about how we feel about who's doing great, who's doing well, what wrestlers are doing well, what promotions, any sort of thoughts about how we think wrestling is doing so far this year. But I think we'll start off with Forbidden Door talk. I think we'll get that stuff out of the way first. And of course, as Scotty referred to earlier, we will tonight be going live pretty much immediately following AEW and New Japan and CMLL and Stars Forbidden Door pay-per-view on YouTube, on Twitter, where if you're watching us live now, subscribe, follow wherever you're watching us on. If you're watching us now, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you don't subscribe to Twitter, follow on Twitter or whatever, so that you can make sure, because we'll be streaming us live, talking about Forbidden Door immediately following the show. And of course, if you're listening to us on audio, there will be an audio version of the show after Forbidden Door, probably the next morning when I wake up. But
can I make a recommendation to the people who are watching Forbidden Door tonight? I recommend, if you're buying it, buy it on Fight, because you get to keep it after.
That's a good one.
Especially if you do the streaming stuff. I think Forbidden Door is far better than Bleacher Report or whatever it's called. I've never done Bleacher Report, but I've only ever heard problems about Bleacher Report. I don't think Fight ever really does have a problem. So
I've never actually had problems. I think I've had Bleacher Report problems.
You have one.
Yeah.
That was probably a long time ago.
Yeah. But I've enjoyed doing it on Fight. To me, Fight's just a little bit easier as well. Because the other problem like Bleacher Report is like you have to like log in on your computer for some reason to then go onto your Xbox or whatever to stream it. So it's like a whole.
What if I don't have an Xbox? Can I not watch it at all?
Exactly. Yeah. You have to lock into Microsoft's product line and go for it.
Imagine that. That'd be brutal.
Let's talk about Forbidden Door. And of course, like we said, we're gonna be live streaming our thoughts immediately afterwards. So we'll get some stuff there. But a couple matches that were firmly announced. Let's give some updates on those matches that had some outstanding stuff. One of which is the AEW TNT title match. We now know who else is in it. So along with Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, and Dante Martin, we also have Leo Rush, I believe it might have been already announced, and El Phantasmo in here for the AEW TNT title match, which will be, of course, a ladder match. I don't really have any big new thoughts. I think El Phantasmo is a solid addition to a ladder match. I think he's the kind of guy that will do, sort of dives and cool shit for a ladder match. Don't think he's winning. I think it's still going to be Jack Perry, in my opinion. But look, I know you're not a big fan of El Phantasmo, but I think if you're going to include a New Japan guy, I think it's a solid guy to put in this sort of stipulation.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was El Desperado, but what are
Yeah,
you going to do?
That would be better.
Yeah, like Desperado's crazy. Desperado loves the craziness. I thought that would have been amazing. But this is fine.
I would say like El Desperado would be a bad idea because he's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. You don't want him in there. And then I look over and see Mark Briscoe, the Ring of Honor World Champion, in here. It's like, okay,
yeah, like, not a big deal. My thoughts on this match. I do have added thoughts. I don't like big ladder matches when you're having 3 of them in a 1 week span. I know it's 2 different companies, but it's 6-person ladder matches 3 times in the next week.
That's a fair
point.
point.
A lot. It's a little overload. 6-pack challenge or something, like maybe elimination. That would have been cool.
Ooh.
That would have been some fun here. Because there's so much talent in this match. I think that would have been really cool. I know you have to pin people, and I know we don't like to pin people, but here's the thing.
Well, we shouldn't be. It's fine if you eliminate people, and then you can set up a world title challenge on Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, it's easy. I don't know. That would be pretty cool, but this should be fun. It's a weird match on a Forbidden Door card, but it's so different that it should work. I don't want to say it might work. It should work. There's a lot of good talent here. I just hope Dante Martin's okay.
That is fair. We do have an update with the match. Previously, it was a trios match between Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata versus the Learning Tree faction. But for whatever reason, Brian Keith is now out, and replacing with him is Jeff Cobb is now going to be part of this match. I do think that's an upgrade. I know. I'm one of those guys where it's like I'm not fully into Brian Keith. He's one of those guys that we've talked about this previously, where it's like him, like Adam Cole for me, a guy that like I know everyone is good, everyone likes them, I know they're good, but for whatever reason they're just not clicking with me. Jeff Cobb is a guy that fully clicks with me, and so to me that's an upgrade. Plus, as we saw in Collision last night, a little bit of the interactions between Jeff Cobb and Samoa Joe, I think that is going to be worth it.
I really wish this should. I mean, this is better, I guess, because now it has New Japan involvement, so it's like not just the AEW match. Because, it's fine. I'll live.
What is this Suzuki match?
Probably just a TV match.
Yeah, why we're not Collision though? Why what is we had the announcement on Dynamite that there's gonna be some sort of Suzuki challenge
after. Maybe it's like next week or the week after that or the week after that.
But I don't think it was announced for the spring break shows, right?
No. Well, it shouldn't be on the spring break show because spring break's already packed with a lot of big matches. They can just throw it on a Collision. Maybe Suzuki's not actually in the country yet. So they just wanted to they wanted to include his involvement in some sort because people still associate him with New Japan. And they're like, he won't be at the show. Sorry, kind of type thing. Which, for some fans that might be needed.
But if that was going to be, if it wasn't going to be on Forbidden Door and wasn't going to be, let's say, Collision next week,
Why do it? Yeah, no, I get you.
Why not just air it on Dynamite next week? Why do it here?
I wouldn't put that match. I guess the idea was to set it up via the partner, and that's how they decided. I don't know. We probably have put more thought into this than they did. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I understand where you're coming from because it's like, oh, I know about this match, and then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's not even booked. Like even if it seems like it might not be on Dynamite, maybe it'd be on like Collision, Spring Break Night 2 or whatever it is. I think, is it called Spring Break?
That's a good match. It's Beach Break.
Beach Break, yes.
That's a good match for like Rampage.
Are you saying that because you want it on Rampage, or so that you don't have to really watch it, or you're saying that because
yeah, that's exactly why I'm saying it.
I figured as much. Yeah, if it's going to be announced, then why not just announce it for Dynamite on the Wednesday? It doesn't make any sense to me. Also announced was another trios match. The Elite, Matthew Jackson, Nicholas Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada versus, I believe Tony Khan is calling them the Scissor Ace, Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, and Hiroshi Tanahashi.
It's harmless. I can't get too mad at it. I like the idea that they're like, Okada, you can be on Forbidden Door. Are you okay facing anyone from New Japan? He's like, I will only face Tanahashi.
But fine. I guess that's fine.
All right. We'll do it. We'll book them, but we're not doing a singles because, they did that big thing earlier this year. It's fine. They can just have Okada pin Tanahashi. We've seen it.
How do you feel about the Elite? How do you feel about the Elite right now?
Oh, flat as could be. Absolutely flat. This build to Forbidden Door has been for them has been non-existent. To the point where I just expected them not to be on the show. So I have like literally zero interest in what they're doing right now. If they didn't hint at the idea of Hangman, and based off the video on Collision, I don't even know if Hangman's actually going to be the guy anymore. But at least my interest level with that is there because I think that it will still turn into the blood and guts stuff. But right now it is dire, and them versus the Acclaim does not move me either at all.
Yeah, and to be frank, like I'm fully not with the Acclaimed in any capacity right now. The Elite is very flat, and to be frank, Hiroshi Tanahashi 2024 is not moving the needle that much right now for me anymore.
No, I do think you needed him on the show just because Hiroshi Tanahashi. And this is probably the best kind of match for him. He can do a few things, get out. I don't even blame. The match is whatever. It's whatever. It's like it's just an added match to the show to bloat it more to me. And I know I saw the conversation. If I'm paying whatever dollars for this show, I want to see all these matches. Here's my take, and this is not a take against anyone, but I want the main event to actually have a crowd. These crowds get tired. These crowds get really tired, and I don't even know if the Long Island crowd's going to be hot tonight. I have no idea. It should be because Forbidden Door feels like the show people would travel for. But still, 14 matches is a long show. This is going to be at least 5 hours long. Sitting there. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's at least to me, it's a good card. Like at least we're getting looks to me like a really good card. Show begins, I believe the 0 hour begins at 6:30. With the show properly starting at 8. It's gonna be a good card. There's so much stuff on here that I'm actually interested in. Albeit this trios match that we're sort of talking about, but like, it's it's the weird thing of like I don't know. I think it's also a very binary thing in terms of the conversations online where it's like the very subtle conversation of 14 matches for a show that's probably going to end at like 2 a.m. is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of matches that I want to see and I want to get my money's worth when I pay for it. But at the same time, I'm not saying that I want to bring it all the way down to a 3-hour show
Right.
of 5 matches, you know?
Right. It's a middle ground. I like the 8 to 9, and you stop there. I think those are really good. Also, you have to remember when you do these 14 match cards, this is the East Coast show.
Yep.
If you're doing it on the West Coast, it's a little different, I think, because the show starts earlier there, and the show gets out earlier there. But like you said, this is ending at with the scrum, probably 2 a.m. overall for everyone in the building. So it's a lot. I hope the crowd's hot tonight. Maybe also, there's 3 trios matches on the show, and the one that's the good one isn't even on the main card. That's kind of crazy to think about.
There's also 3 trios matches.
Topic, but
there's also 3 trios matches, and none of them for the trios titles.
Yeah, because Jay White, I think, is like, for some reason, it's like illegal to put him on Forbidden Door.
Apparently. Well, let's talk about that pre-show, that 0 hour that'll be starting at 6:30. Let's start off with that match you talked about. Los Ingonables de Japón, Yota Tsuji coming in, Titan and Hiromu, all teaming up to face the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Mystico. Let's do that big clap for Mystico.
We're back.
It's a full shoulder rotation.
Remember when everyone talked about the feeling, and let's bring the feeling back.
You know who's got more feeling in his claps than anybody?
This is the feeling for me. Listen. My 2 most hype matches now both involve CMLL, and this one is right there. This is going to be great. Give him 12, 15 minutes on the pre-show. We're cooking. This could be the best pre-show match ever.
Since what was that? Serena Deeb versus Riho? What was that match?
Yeah, that was in 2021. So, oof ba boof. So I want that. I'm looking forward to this. No offense to you. I think this could have maybe been even better if you switched Yota Tsuji with El Desperado. I really was just trying to get him on the show because it would have been more junior type. But
sure.
But someone's tapping out to La Mystica, and that's what matters.
Sorry. I don't know.
Probably Hiromu. Hiromu already did it twice last week. Why not add another one?
That's a good point. Yeah, no, this is very good. I'm super into it. I'm a big fan of Yota Tsuji. I'm a fan of Titan.
Hiromu's good in these spots.
That's fair. Pentagon, Phoenix, Mystico, it's all-timer. Did you listen to the Tony Khan, I guess also the media call, I think he talked about as well there, but the Tony Khan, Wrestling Observer, Meltzer, Brian Alvarez interview?
Not yet.
Very good. I thought it was actually really good. I thought Brian and Dave asked him a lot of the harder questions that TK should have answers for, and for the most part, I think he answered them fairly well. But one of the things that he kept kind of talk about is this idea that the pre-show was a customer acquisition strategy, and the idea that let's put on a great pre-show so that we have a bunch of people watching the pre-show for free, and that we can try to convert them into paying customers for the pay-per-view. Obviously, I think that's fair to say that is what you should be doing on these pre-shows. Part of the reason, and that's also part of like the conversation that was happening online as well, is this match needs to be on the main card. We're still going to see this match. I'm still going to sit down and watch this match at not 6:30. This match is probably like 7:45 or whatever. But I'm still going to sit down and watch this match. The whole idea is that, the pre-show should be full of great matches to try to convert people. It's part of the problem with the stigma of pre-shows and why people don't feel like they count is because of like WWE and how they treat pre-shows.
To be fair, they stopped doing that. So
So much so that like they kind of fully stopped doing matches, or they'll have like one match on a pre-show and it really doesn't matter. Even like I'll also even say like New Japan does like a pre-show every once in a while for things, and it's because of how they lay out their cards. It's like usually like Young Lion stuff, or it's a bunch of like random people that don't really matter. The idea is that you maybe should put something of interest on here to try to convert people to pay-per-views. And as Tony Khan said, even going back all the way to that Riho Serena Deeb match, Tony Khan, if I recall, said that match helped convert people into paying customers because it was so great. So put on great matches, especially this match, which will probably be the last one going into the pay-per-view, to convince people to buy the pay-per-view. I think it's a great idea. I want to see great matches. Let's see some great matches.
Yes, I'm happy. I'm happy, Mystical. Yes, I'm happy. Yes.
Drizzy Drake in the chat writes, Jay White is still banned from New Japan and kayfabe.
Okay. You know what? I like it. Okay, that's good. I like kayfabe type things like that. I completely forgot about that. Good shout. Actually is banned.
Yes, banned in Japan and banned in America. The only way he can work a New Japan show is if they go to Mexico. I guess he could work Fantasticomania in Mexico or something.
I mean, that'd be weird. Yeah, this match I'm hyped for. Mystico, Lucha Bros. I don't know.
Let's get it.
Just give them the trios belts now.
Who
says no to that?
I know. I agree. Also on the call, Dave, you know how like Tony Khan has been advertising that this is Mystico, Phoenix, and Pentagon teaming up for the first time?
Dave absolutely ripped them. Did he rip them apart? Dave
was like, "Oh, that's not true. They've teamed together before." And Tony Khan was like, "Are you sure? Really?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, like 2016 or something." And then Tony Khan's like, "But this is the first time doing it under all these gimmicks." And Dave's like, "Well, yeah, I guess technically." Because I think technically Mystico is Caristico at that point. Phoenix was like King Phoenix or something. Pentagon was some name. Because of
that's funny.
Politics.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah, so that's also worth listening to.
Wow, this match is crazy. I was looking up times Mystico's team with Penta. The team was Rush, El Terrible, and El Barbaro Cavanario versus Caristico, David Finlay, and Penta.
David Finlay. Oh yeah, I think we had this conversation recently. That was like the only time I think David Finlay has ever worked. But anyways. Also in the chat as well, Hassan Albani, who's made a lot of comments already, and he's blowing through my spots. Hassan Albani, TK seems very high on Tsuji as well. So he was like, when he said Yota Tsuji, TK was like, "Oh yeah, I love Yota Tsuji," and I was like, "That's a real one. That's how you know he's a real one."
New Japan fans, I'm sorry to say, that means he's probably the next guy TK wants to sign. It was a good run.
Already putting it out there now. Tag team match: Chris Statlander. Yeah.
Oh, this is crazy. This is a crazy match.
Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe teaming up against Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano. Of course, on that beach break show, it'd be Chris Statlander and Willow in a singles match. But here we get a sort of tag match preview with some Stardom wrestlers.
I said last week, is Mina Shirakawa enough? And the answer was now no. It was not enough. They got two more on there. Momo Watanabe is about as random as it gets. I think they were like, who's the heel that we should put here? And part of me kind of find it funny they didn't say Tekla, which was the right choice. This should be good.
If I'm Stardom, I'm trying not to have Tekla on these US shows.
Yeah. Well,
it would be smart, but also it would.
She's not getting signed. She's not very good. Lately, she's doing well. She would have made sense for this because she wants to kill idols and whatever. I'm not doing this. She probably would get signed, I would think, eventually if she came over. This should be good.
Momo's weird, but also I guess kind of makes sense. A betrayer of sorts.
Yeah.
And then
that's true.
Tam Nakano, big time star. Also,
big stars. Momo's here to get pinned. Okay, let's just.
If I'm not mistaken, it was Tam versus Willow for the TBS title.
Mm-hmm. So little connection there. I'm gonna guess that Momo's getting pinned here because Willow's losing to Chris. So on Wednesday, which makes sense. It works out.
Mhm.
Anyone that wanted like Tam to then challenge Mercedes this week, that ain't happening. They have a Corkin on Thursday that they just announced. So sorry.
That's fine. We'll push it to Collision then.
I think they have a Corkin on Saturday or Sunday too. So.
In that moment, you can see Scotty going through the
I was going through the Rolodex of a million events that Stardom runs. Yes. I think this is a very good women's match for the pre-show. You know, we're talking about how we're trying to sell the show.
Yep.
Between this and the trios match, I think this can sell the show.
I agree. Do you think this one can sell the show? Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament first round match. Mariah May versus Saraya.
There's
an element. Mariah May
story here.
There's a story here.
It's a tournament match.
Mariah May has been a part of a lot of quarter-hour bumps recently.
Yeah, I think he'll do good. I mean, Mariah's story. I don't know about that. But Mariah's story is very much one of the better things going on in AEW. It's been told since essentially the moment she got in there. You know, I did have my early complaints, but they have kept with it. Right? Every beat of Toni Storm's title reign has involved Mariah May. And now we are getting to the point tonight where I think there's a decision might have to be made later in the night by her. So putting her on the show in a tournament match, that's cool with me. They did it last year too. They had Athena versus Billy Starks, which was a tournament match. I'm totally cool with it. It's a good spot for it. This is a pre-show I want to watch. Like, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time watching this pre-show.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff.
Like myself, I'm not a big fan of Saraya at all. But I'm a huge fan of Mariah May. I want to watch all of the Owen. That's a good match to put on here. And yeah, she's trying to get her win back, right? We obviously know Mariah May is probably winning this tournament. Mm-hmm. So this is step one.
And it's a solid win to put on a kind of free show pay-per-view sort of lineup here for Mariah May.
Yes.
And then the last one that was announced on Collision is a 4-way tag team match. House of Black, Malachi Black, and Brody King versus Tomohiro Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly versus Private Party versus Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd. 8
minutes, all-out action. You have a great time.
That's all it's got to be. A PWG special.
Kings of the Black Throne should probably win.
Oh, yeah, I love how it does say House of Black, but it's technically Kings of the Black Throne, if you will. Yeah, still the PWG Tag Team Champions. Never defended, if I'm not mistaken. Never defended those titles. The company doesn't really exist anymore, but that's fine.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I could fully blame them on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think you're completely right. As long as it's a short 8 minutes of nonstop action, everybody getting their shit in, I think it should really do well.
Yeah, doesn't need to be long. I'd probably have it start the show, like the 0 hour. Mm-hmm. Put the two women's back to back, and then have that trios be last.
I think that's plausible. I think that's certainly plausible. But yeah, that's Forbidden Door. Other than that, just sort of get more build for every sort of big title match. Obviously, a big build on Collision as well at the last second for Ospreay and Swerve. I don't really have any more thoughts for Forbidden Door. I'm excited for it. I don't necessarily feel more or less convinced on who I think is going to win. I do think that Collision build of Swerve and that weigh-in, AEW doing a successful weigh-in, was sort of successful. With Swerve and Ospreay on Collision. I thought that was done pretty well. And it left a little bit of an impact of maybe Ospreay can do this. But I don't necessarily think it's necessarily changed how I think it's going to go or who I think is going to win. I think it's probably going to be Swerve still, especially with Beach Break and the Danny Garcia, Will Ospreay AEW International title match happening on Dynamite. I don't think it's necessarily going to change anything in terms of the world title. I would love it if it did. I don't know if it will though. So I think that's Forbidden Door for you folks. So yeah, going to be a great show. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. And of course, following the pay-per-view, we will be here on YouTube, on Twitter, live streaming our thoughts, our immediate thoughts to the AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view. So Scotty is out for a moment. He messaged me, so he's going to be out for a moment. So I'm just going to start the talk about the Money in the Bank show that is also happening this Saturday. Not happening this. Yeah, it's happening this Saturday, right? It's not a Sunday. Yes, July 6th. Excuse me, July 6th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Scotia Bank Arena. Money in the Bank is taking place. I believe most of it is figured out. I think they do have some TBDs left in the Money in the Bank matches officially. But I think pretty much everything's going to be figured out. I don't even know if they have announced these last little TBD, Raw SmackDown matches. Let me see if that is the case. I guess I'll go to WWE.com to figure this out. Let's see. Some quarterfinals, women's ladder match, and then we'll say anything.
Hi.
Oh, he's back. Jesus Christ. You okay, Scotty?
Yeah, my nose started bleeding. I could feel it. I was like, uh-oh. I gotta get out of here. Otherwise, we were gonna have a fountain that no one wanted to see.
Jesus. Well, if you need a minute, no worries whatsoever.
We're good. We're good. It's clear. Thank God.
We're talking about Money in the Bank. Money in the
Bank. You guys ever play SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 and they had a great song, Money in the Bank? Money in the Bank. Got the money in the bank. Yeah.
Anyways, Money in the Bank.
I'm wired up now.
Yes, he is. I don't actually know. I was going to say the main event, possibly. I don't really know. What is the main event? Probably the last chance match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Damian Priest and Seth freaking Rollins. He's back. I know what you're wondering. What the hell is a last chance match? Well, I don't know what it is, but apparently it is.
I do.
If Priest wins, Rollins can never challenge for the title for as long as Priest is the champion. And if Rollins wins, Priest must leave the Judgment Day. What do you think of this probable main event match?
I think all those rules are always so funny. Like, they do it all the time in wrestling, and it's like, this champion's going to drop the belt in like a month. I think the show
slams around the corner, baby.
Here's my hot take. I think this show pretty good card-wise.
Okay.
This is actually probably the match I look forward to the least, truthfully, the world title match. Because I don't know. Seth Rollins is now healthy, which is good. He hasn't been healthy in a long while. He had the knee injury and, had to go through all that. And obviously, Damian Priest does not move me as world champion. Oh my God, I was listening to this interview. I listened to Undertaker talk about Gunther, and he completely forgot who the world champion was. And I was like, that says everything. Like, if Undertaker can't remember who the world champion is as he talks about the current product, why should I? I think Damian Priest is winning and then losing to Gunther. So that's my preview.
No, I
think if he loses, he's kicked out of. He has to leave Judgment Day, and I think that would be pretty anticlimactic to end that big split.
Yeah, they're obviously going to lead into some sort of big split. My guess will be, and it'll be stupid, but my guess will be that Judgment Day will help lead to Damian Priest losing at SummerSlam instead of Gunther just utterly destroying him for however long. But it also makes sense not to utterly destroy Damian Priest because they're trying to present him as this big, strong dude. So you can't destroy him. So you have to figure out a way to have him lose. But instead of having him just be pinned definitively, I'm going to guess that Judgment Day somehow gets involved. And then that causes
loss. We'll see on that one. I'm not too worried about that. I could see them fail to help.
That's also possible.
And then Gunther pins him 1, 2, 3. I think that's a possibility too. But
I like the idea that the Judgment Day are like an inept bloodline.
yeah, I think that's funny.
They
And
try
like,
to do
fair.
similar stuff, but they suck at it.
To be fair, look at the Judgment Day. What shouldn't they be inept? Like, come on. There's not a lot of like excitement there. Rhea's not here. So
I'm not gonna ever say that JD McDonough is the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
I'll call him out. I don't care.
Yeah, you can call
that
him
was
dumb.
part of the speaking
We don't like him. He's dumb.
He's part of the speaking thing.
Don't like him. Don't like JD McDonough. Anyways, I don't know how we ended up here. Damian Priest beats Seth freaking Rollins. Are you prepared for a stardom for a WWE pay-per-view that starts at like night? It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, it has been a while.
7 Eastern.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I do there is something about it how I do kind of like having it in the middle of the day and then just kind of like
having your night to yourself.
Yeah, having the night to myself and be able to do whatever the hell I want. And now there's like an actual thing happening. It's like, okay, I guess I got to stay up and watch this a little bit.
I guess the one good thing about being a 5-match card and starting at 7, it's gonna be over at 10. That's not bad.
Good point. That's a good point. This is not going to be a long show by any stretch of the imagination. And if you do the Ryan Knightsey method or the Scotty method, then you're going to watch a bunch of wrestling in the middle of it or start an hour late and it's going to be a 2-hour show basically for you.
It's pretty successful strategy. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll probably watch wrestling this time around because it's a night show. During the day, I feel like it's easier to skip. Like, I'll join in an hour. At nighttime, I'll probably just turn it on and do whatever. Maybe play Candy Crush. I play Candy Crush.
You're
on my
a Candy
iPad.
Crush guy?
I just started playing it again. And listen. It hasn't been a good week for me. Let it go.
You know what game I've been playing?
Ooh, Doodle Jump.
No.
Damn.
You got
Ninja.
No, I would say more boring and more nerdy.
Geometry Dash.
No, you're still too exciting. The answer is Minesweeper. I've been playing a lot of Minesweeper in the past 2 weeks.
And that's apps with Ring Post Radio.
And that's app corner with Ring Post Radio. We'll have a stinger play later. Let's talk about another match on here. The Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah!
It definitely feels like Braun Breaker's been heated up a lot for this match. But is this the time to pull the trigger on the IC title victory over Zayn?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because Sami Zayn has to join the bloodline.
Oh.
Roman Reigns' bloodline. Because I was trying to figure out to myself. So I watched this great segment that they did on SmackDown where Paul Heyman's like, "You're not my tribal chief." And, he looks distraught and looks terribly unhealthy because I know he's playing to the character. Good job on him. And I was like, wait a minute. It's 4-on-4. Who the hell's going to be the fourth guy for Roman's side? And I was like, oh, it's going to be the honorary Uso. Oh, and everyone's going to love it. So that's where I'm at. And I think Braun Breaker should kill him anyways. It's very few times you can get a guy that's like as impactful and as exciting as like a Goldberg type figure. And I know a lot of people don't like Goldberg, but listen, Goldberg was very successful for a reason. Braun Breaker should be that. This is Goldberg winning the US title. This is right. That's what this is to me. Braun Breaker should absolutely spear Sami Zayn out of his shoes, pin him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. End of story. And I think that's what they're going to do. I have a lot of confidence they're going to go with that because Sami Zayn doesn't need this title. We've talked about that. He doesn't need this belt.
Has Braun Breaker lost yet?
He's lost via disqualification twice in a row.
Ugh, lame.
Which actually, it's not him getting DQ'd. It's been Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus attacking each other in his matches.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's lame.
I'm sure they will act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you could have an undefeated streak, but instead you have these 2 DQs that technically are losses on Braun's record.
My guess is they don't want to like exactly do the Goldberg, but in a way, the idea is no one can beat him, I think. And you should absolutely keep that up here. I've said it on the show. I don't think many wrestling companies have a prospect as exciting as Braun Breaker in terms of what he brings to the table. And I feel like he's really clicked more on the main roster than maybe he did in NXT, just because it's all about the intensity with him.
Oh, I think in that last stretch of NXT, he figured out that intensity part.
Yeah, shout out to the Wolf Dogs.
And now, did Baron Corbin bring that intensity to the main roster? I don't know why we did all this,
man. I don't even think he's booked, man.
I think it's not a bad idea. I think if you have something hot, you should go with it. Sami Zayn is not the hottest thing right now. He's definitely still great, but it's not the hottest thing I think happening right now.
Him losing in Canada? Braun Breaker heat. Give me the heat.
That would be good heat. That would be good heat. But yeah, Sami Zayn losing in Canada, I think, is totally a possibility. And look, if Sami Zayn wins, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea.
I know they don't like to have hometown people win.
Can we also talk about that bloodline idea? I think you're right that the idea is that it's going to go into Survivor Series, as Survivor Series War Games is probably going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline.
Unless they're adding Tala Leona or whatever the fuck the guy's name is.
Yeah, so you have Hikuleo floating around as well. That would also have to mean that Jay and Jimmy reunite again with Roman.
That's very obviously happening.
And then you also have to have Sammy reunite with all of them again. That's a lot of stuff that has to happen. And obviously turn the whole thing babyface, which I think is probably going to happen, obviously.
Yeah, I think Roman Reigns is going to get like the biggest pop of the year on SummerSlam or whatever.
And he'll be the big time babyface. And I'm interested to see how that comes across. It's probably going to be the same thing, but who cares?
He's just going to be Roman that we've seen for the past few years. They're just going to cheer him.
It doesn't matter. They're already cheering him, even though he was a top heel, but whatever. I think it's just, I don't know. There's something about that where I'm like, I don't really like just kind of really quickly undoing the past couple of years of the Bloodline storyline in a matter of months to try to do a Bloodline versus Bloodline War Games match. I don't know if I like that idea per se.
Well, I don't like Blood or Guts or War Games, so.
But also makes sense, Bloodline storyline, where people just all of a sudden go back on how they feel about a certain thing and just change automatically to start.
They'll have time because SummerSlam is the first weekend in August.
Yeah,
and then you have Bash in Berlin. Yeah, then you have Bash in Berlin. War Games is until November, so you actually do have a sizable amount of time to tell these stories. It's just a matter of how much will Roman be around. Yeah.
When's November? I don't have War Games written down when it's going to be. I don't think they actually announced War Games yet.
Probably middle, if I had to guess, because usually it's around the Thanksgiving time. So,
yeah, no, I don't know if I enjoy that. 4 months you can do, but that's a lot of undoing in 4 months, and I don't really.
I think any longer is like too long. We've been doing this Bloodline story for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you're not going to watch it, so what do you care?
We'll watch it for the show. That's for certain.
You won't watch Raw and SmackDown where it's happening.
I don't know. I think the idea for me is that it's a lot of super quick storytelling for what they typically do for Bloodline stuff. And I don't know if they have not proven to me the ability to do that.
I find
it to make sense, logical sense.
I find it to be a very interesting story, so I'm in it because for me, if there's something interesting in WWE, I'll take it.
You're also a big Hikuleo guy, so
that is not true at all. I'm a big Jacob Fatu guy, and I watched this guy on SmackDown the other day. I said, "Wow, how did AEW not sign him like 3 years ago?" Like, what a guy! That's a guy. Like I look at him like, listen, Tama Tonga and whatever the other guy's name is, Tonga Leo. What is his name?
Tongaloa?
Tonga Loa. Toa Leona is in AEW.
Tinga Tonga.
Yeah, thank you.
Tiny Tonga.
They're just there to be like the henchmen tag team. So like they brought in Jacob Fatu to be the clear, like, okay, this guy's very charismatic. And in the long term, he'll probably break out on his own. Because he's the enforcer, which is what Solo Sikoa was to Roman Reigns. So it works. But yeah, that dude rules. And I just realized he's on this show wrestling. So I'm looking forward to that at Money in the Bank as well.
Well, potentially on the show wrestling, because according to Wikipedia, we also have a 6-man tag team match: Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, and it doesn't list which members of the Bloodline. It specifically says Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and or Jacob Fatu. So it would make sense for it to be Jacob Fatu, but then it's a combination of which of these 4 guys is going to be in this 6-man tag team match. Or are they just going to bring in Hikuleo as well, and it's going to be Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Tala Tonga, the Tongans, all being here for a 6-man tag?
I think it could actually be a really good match if it's Solo, Tama, and Jacob Fatu. If it's Tonga Loa, then it was a good run.
The best? Well, let's do a classic Ichiban Sweetcast gimmick here. Give me the best and worst case scenario for members of this match.
Solo, Tama Tonga, and Toa. What is this guy's name? Tonga Loa.
Tonga Loa.
That is worst case. Best case is you just replace Tonga with Jacob Fatu.
So yeah, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa. Best
yeah.
case. Worst case to me is probably Tonga Loa, Solo, Hikuleo.
Oh, well, yeah, if Hikuleo's involved, for sure.
You got to consider Hikuleo.
I'm not considering Hikuleo for the match because they'll do the big debut where the camera's not on him, and then it's like, there's another Samoan.
I think what they're going to do is a backstage segment where someone's decked out, and then they do a very slow pan up of Tala Tonga and be like, and Michael Cole screaming, "He's so tall! He's Tala Tonga!" And then that's his debut.
Moving
on. We got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, of course, for the Money in the Bank contract. Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi, plus one more TBD, which I do not believe they've announced the next qualifying match for, but we'll have another TBD shortly.
I'm asking in the nicest way, can we keep Io in one piece, please? The last qualifier is Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, and Ivy Nile.
Dakota Kai, probably
Zoe Stark.
Not. Zoe Stark, maybe? That seems plausible. And what's the last
Zoe
one?
Stark. Ivy Nile.
Yeah, I'll be Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark. Tiffany Stratton should be winning this match.
Yes, I think it should fully be Tiffany Stratton. If I had to give a backup, maybe Io Sky, but I think she was just champion. She's really
also won this last year.
That's true. I think Chelsea Green is a tantalizing idea for probably people involved back there, but I think it's a wrong idea. I think it's got to be Tiffany Stratton.
That's the whole purpose of the briefcase, is for someone like Tiffany Stratton to hold it.
Yep.
So that's pretty much my entire sell on it. It should be her winning, and she should make a pink briefcase.
Oh, you're right. That is exactly what's going to happen. she is going to have a pink briefcase for 100% for sure.
And then she's absolutely going to, because they can't hold, like, they hate having one person, the women's one's always cashed in early. So, like, at SummerSlam, Nia's going to lose to Bayley and then get mad after the match and then attack Bayley. And then they're going to be like, it's Tiffy time. And then she runs down to the ring and cashes in. You know this is going to happen. You know I'm right.
You are right.
It's exactly what happened last year.
And Bayley is probably more than happy to put over Miss Tiffy time.
Miss Tiffy time. Tiffy world champ?
No. Tiffy title? Huh?
Sure, we'll go with it.
She'll make it pink?
Oh my God! See, that might be a winner. She also gets a custom title. I think that might be going too far.
We'll find out. But I think you're
Who's the
right.
last custom title
In WWE? Hmm.
Is it Daniel Bryan
Ooh,
in the Planet Championship?
I think so.
Been a long time. I like custom titles. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. No, it's definitely the Fiend thing.
Oh, yeah.
That ugly ass belt.
The Fiend.
Listen, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt, but that belt was ugly.
I don't disagree with you.
That was like not even a belt. It literally just was his face.
Yeah, I totally agree. Money in the Bank men's ladder match also here. Jey Uso, how can we forget Mr. Yeet Man himself? Jey Uso also on this card. Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and one TBD. Do you have that TBD match as well?
Yes, it is Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, oh my God. Oh my God.
Does that move you?
Whew, I'm getting the vapors over here. Ooh.
He's I can see the sweat dwindling down your forehead because that is a beef-tastic match.
That should just be the Money in the Bank ladder match. It should just be these two guys and then three more beefy dudes.
And there's actually no ladder. They just beat each other up, and whoever doesn't get beat up the most wins.
There should be 5 beefy dudes: McIntyre, Dragunov, Sheamus. I guess we would do Jonah.
Does it have to be? Well, Dragunov's not a beefy dude.
No, but he's an honorary beefy dude.
He's an honorary beef.
Gunther, and then Akira Tozawa, one high flying dude. And that's my dream. That's my dream. Anyways, this match. So of that qualifying thing, honestly, I don't think it's McIntyre. That would be weird with the Punk.
I do.
Also, didn't he just quit? Hold on. Didn't he just quit, quote unquote?
Yeah, and then he made CM Punk bleed, and then he's back.
Interesting. That doesn't seem like how quitting works.
Does it not feel like I don't know. Am I crazy just to think that they do put him in the Money in the Bank and he's about to win, and then CM Punk screws him again?
Pushes him off the ladder? I don't think you're crazy for that. I definitely don't think you're crazy.
It just feels likely, almost. You know, like the idea is he gets screwed by Punk, and yet Punk continuously gets cheered. And it's like, what the hell, man? So, like, I think that's happening.
That does seem plausible.
I'd love to see Dragunov here, though.
Yeah, Dragunov would be great. I would prefer
Dragunov here, winning, then saying, Gunther at Bash in Berlin, it's you and me one-on-one for the world title.
Yeah! That would be great. I mean, you could just do that without doing the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like, you could build up Dragunov for that match and do that at Bash in Berlin.
You could.
That's
probably
plausible. Well, is it when's Bash in Berlin? It's after SummerSlam.
This match is presented by the boys. That's terrifying.
All right, so who's shooting rays of light out of their eyes? Probably Chad. He's a Cyclops. You remove those Yeet glasses, and he starts shooting ray beams out of his eyes.
It's just me, Use.
Yeah. Also, it's just him, and now he's going to rejoin the Bloodline. Anyways, Bash at the Berlin, August 31st. So that could be fine. You don't really have to. You can do a Dragunov match there, and I don't really think you need to do Money in the Bank. So if you're taking Dragunov out, McIntyre makes sense. Sheamus, for some reason, doesn't really fit here to me. He could be fine. I think that's fine, but I think McIntyre makes more sense. In terms of a winner, we're not saying McIntyre. I'm not saying Dragunov. I don't think Sheamus for sure. LA Knight, Chad Gable, Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, or Jey Uso. Who is the winner here, Scotty? I don't honestly see any of these people as a potential world champion.
Nope. Not in this company.
What about if McIntyre does win?
Oh my god!
and
Then he
steals,
cashes in, and Punk screws him in that.
or Punk somehow wins the title.
McIntyre winning, it's more interesting.
Right? Can I pitch you something?
Yes.
I agree. But McIntyre winning would be more interesting. But let me pitch you this: CM Punk wins the world title, main event of WrestleMania. He gets his WrestleMania moment. McIntyre cashes in and beats him for it.
I'm in. Do that.
That'd be fun. Ruins his WrestleMania moment. That'd be fun.
Should do that.
It'd be a nice little.
I think I'm gonna go with Drew winning. He could not even be in this match after tomorrow, but I'm gonna go with Drew winning this whole thing.
I think I'm tend to agreeing. It's
mostly because that gives the most story options.
I agree. It's also the most realistic. Like I really like LA Knight. No. Chad Gable. No. Andrade. That'd be fun, but no.
Yeah.
Speed Champion. No. Carmelo Hayes. No. Come on. Jey Uso. Definitely not. What are we doing here?
Nah, Carmelo Hayes wouldn't be a world champion that quickly. He would. No. He's the type of guy that's gonna take like a long time to get there. I think for them. And no one wants Jey Uso to win. Jey Uso winning this would make no sense.
No.
He's a baby face that people love. That's not how Money in the Bank works.
No, it's ideally heels.
So no yeet.
No yeet. We're officially no yeet on this podcast. That's right. We're officially no yeet. Sponsored by Dude Wipes. All right, let's move on to one other bit here. And that was more WWE news, which was Donovan Dijak tweeting out on, I believe it was on Thursday technically, and then on Friday basically saying that his contract of WWE is over. He penned a letter that tweeted out on his Twitter account at Dijak WWE, basically saying, here's the truth. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's the truth. WWE never negotiated with me. We attempted to negotiate and they stonewalled us. And they never made a single offer, and they informed me that they would not renew my contract at the 11th hour. 2 months ago was one of the best matches in NXT history and a top match at WrestleMania weekend. Yada 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 yada. Basically, he says that his contract expires on June 28th, 2024. So as of right now, he is free agent territory. He said that this has lit a fire under me to relentlessly prove to myself, to the world, all I ever wanted was a fair shot. And now I have the opportunity to go out and shake it. That's enough talk now. Now it's time to do or die, Jack. So Donovan Dijak is already a free agent. And if you saw from this weekend, he has already been announced for a bunch of indie shots. He showed up at Blitzkrieg Pro last night, it looks like. And has also been announced for like Prestige Wrestling and a couple other companies, I believe. So he is already making waves in the indie scene. What do you think? It looks like right now he's obviously popping around and wants to just work a bunch of shots, work a bunch of indies. Where do you think, if he does end up with a contract at any sort of major company, where do you think would be the best spot for him, for Donovan Dijak?
The best spot for him is in Japan. Where do I think he ends up? Probably just AEW.
AEW would be, honestly, I think the worst option. I think AEW is the worst option for both parties. I don't think Dijak would be utilized in the way that he wants to be utilized in AEW. I think he is a big bill type in AEW.
Put him in the Slammiversary main event.
That's what I was going to get to. New Japan is an interesting one. That would be interesting. I would love to see him in like All Japan would be fun. That would be realistically fun. I think TNA is honestly the best spot. And I understand that TNA is a sinking ship, so maybe not the best time to aboard ship. But hey, look, if I'm TNA, if this is a guy that former WWE guy that can maybe turn things around for my company, then maybe that's what I'm going to go for. Slammiversary main event against whoever's going to be the champion. That could be fun. Him versus Moose could be. I know no one likes Moose. Hear me out.
What the TNA main event is, do you?
For Slammiversary?
Yeah.
Isn't it like a multi-man scramble?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they're doing like qualifying matches, so I guess he could be in that, but I don't know. Will that
Or they
rip
could
up,
just
rip up TNA's booking? We all know what that their booking is on the fly. It certainly feels that way. But I think TNA makes sense. I know no one likes Moose, but hear me out. Moose is also still very athletic for his size. And if you want to recreate the Keith Lee Dijak matches of the indie scene of like the 2017s, 2018s, whatever it was, that would probably be your best spot if you're trying to recreate that, because you're not going to do that with Keith Lee anymore. Speedball, Josh Alexander. I think there's a lot of good spots there. Plus, with TNA, you can still do Japan. You know, you can still do this. You can still do a bunch of indie dates. I think if this guy wants to prove himself and asking for an opportunity for a shot to actually prove himself, I think he needs to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. And I think there is no smaller pond right now than TNA, unless he wants to show up and be, I don't know, the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. But I think TNA is the most realistic option. Not a great option. It's a sinking ship, like I said, but it might be the best option. Scotty, do you have any thoughts on TNA, or do you have any thoughts, or do you really think it's going to be?
do I have thoughts on TNA? I want him to go to Noah. That's where I want him to go. I'm sending every person that I want in Japan to Noah on the pure side of things now. I don't want anyone. Like, New Japan ain't happening. G1's filled. Sorry, folks. I think Noah will be a fun place for him. Jump in the N1 and get yourself in the N1 victory. Show the world what you're all about. I don't really know what kind of wrestler Dijak is. I know he's good, but how good? You know, could you be good in there with Kaito Kiyomiya? Could you be good in there with Yoichi or Kano? That's that interests me more. TNA doesn't do anything for me, but it would make sense. Big fish, small pond type mindset.
It could be a good US base. And look,
who doesn't want to see Charlie Dempsey versus Donovan Dijak in TNA wrestling?
Or who's another guy that showed up?
Miles Bourne or something?
Yeah, Miles Bourne.
I don't even know who that is.
I believe he's the guy. Is he the deaf guy? I believe NXT has a guy that is like legally deaf.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe that could be Miles Bourne. I may not be correct there.
Interesting.
Anyways,
yeah, no, TNA works. TNA works. It doesn't drive me in terms of excitement, but it works. They did really good numbers in Philadelphia this weekend, I saw. So good for them. Yeah. Are they really a sinking ship? Like, we may see them as one, but they're doing ticket sales and stuff.
I think the perception at the very least is that they're a sinking ship. And I think
like the opposite of what Ring of Honor was when Ring of Honor.
I think they did.
You just don't like WWE. Just admit it. Just say it.
I don't like WWE. I'm not gonna. There's nothing here.
I
think that the perception obviously is that TNA is a sinking ship. I think it's this thing of, for me, they did good ticket sales in Philly. I think that's one city and it's a hardcore wrestling city. I need to see.
What are they doing for Slammiversary?
I don't know. Let me see. I'll look around.
Here I come.
See if they have anything. But I don't know. Like I'm trying to look at to see if they did well in Cicero for Against All Odds.
No.
And I don't really.
I think they sold that out too.
I don't know if they sold that. I don't know what. Let's see.
Yeah, they did sell out. They sold out the Chicago show. Or
I'll take your word for it because they don't have tickets on it. They don't have the number here on a Cage Match. So I'd have to go to WrestleTix to find and scour for all that data. I don't know. They could be doing fine, but they also have a bunch of people leaving one after another. So maybe they're turning things around. Maybe they're not. I honestly do not know. I think
my thing is I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and I think that's the harder part is that, look, they could get good ticket sales, but I'm not going to fully judge it off of one ticket thing in Philly. And if they did do well in Cicero, then that's also good. But I don't know. I think I need a little bit more. The perception is this is all happening when a bunch of like people behind the scenes is leaving the company. So I don't think that's the ticket sales could be good, but when you have people behind the scenes leaving, I don't think that's considered good. And if you can pull in a guy like Dijak, then that's great. I mean, the TV ratings have not improved in any capacity since this WWE.
No, but I didn't expect them to.
And I don't think Charlie Dempsey or Miles Bourne or not Eiley Dawn, whatever. What's the other third? There's a third one there as well. What's this? Izzy Dame is going to be changing things up for TNA anytime soon, but I don't know. Are you looking up WrestleTix right now?
Yeah, they don't have it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably do some advanced searching for WrestleTix. Also, just real quickly while we're looking at it, Forbidden Door 9,800, crawling to 10,000, and Money in the Bank. Do they have Money in the Bank here as well? I'm sure they do somewhere.
How do you feel about How do you feel about any company right now? About like terms of tickets? No, like in terms of like selling tickets.
How do I feel about any company?
Like, what do you think? What do you think is a accomplished number for All In this year? This is a completely off topic thing, but I just saw their ticket sales, so I didn't know they were at 41K. Which is half of last year.
Yeah, I think 50 is 50. my a good thing. I think more than I mean 80%, not 80%, 80,000 I think was an all-time number, but there's no way they're going to reach that again. It's the first one, so I don't think it's even
unless they were hot.
Yeah, plus they were hot. I don't think I don't think that seems likely at this point. Mm-hmm. I also think it was the first one, so I think there's a little bit of like whenever you do a first time thing, it's gonna, there's diminishing returns immediately. To me, 50 is plausible and also I think a good number for them.
Do you think they should? I don't think they do Wembley again next year.
I would still do Wembley again.
I don't think go down again.
What's you don't? But how much do you think it's going to go down? Let's say they get 50. Let's say they get 50,000 attendance for Wembley this year.
What, 30K?
You think they're going to go drop 20K and have 30K next year?
Well, they dropped 40K this year.
So far. Obviously, we're still a couple months away, but yes.
So,
but that's 1 year to the year. That's year 1 to year 2. You're going to get a drop off. If you have another 50% drop off,
I don't know if as many people travel this year. Because I don't know if it's even their fault, but I think there's a lack of interest around that weekend because of how certain companies are booking it. Like RevPro just announced their first match for that show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else running there. Like last year was so big and everyone ran with it. And it's still big this year. That's the thing. I don't understand what's going on with all these other companies.
To be fair, there's not a lot of other companies in England.
Well, RevPro last year, RevPro, Eve, Progress, they all ran.
Yep.
And you knew about the shows at least.
Yep.
This year, not so much. It's an interesting topic. I don't know how high.
The bigger thing is that the hype is way down.
Yeah, and I don't know if the hype will be up or not next year, but at the same time, it's like I'm sure they run it again, especially assuming Ospreay doesn't get his moment this year.
Mm-hmm. And I think if they run it for a third year with Ospreay in the world title match, I think it's
you just get to a certain point where it doesn't look full anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 50 is going to be perfect. In like, it's going to feel full, lively. It's still 50,000 wrestling fans. No matter what, it's an accomplishment even if you were to get 30,000, truthfully. It's just, it's the way it looks and stuff like that. I mostly just brought it up because I was thinking maybe they should just try a different location, even in England. Like, I don't know, there's got to be more stadiums around. Just like something that maybe intrigues others, but
I also don't I don't think Tony Khan as AEW wants to leave Wembley. Do you know that Shad Khan tried to buy Wembley a couple years ago?
I did not.
I don't know if it was a couple years ago. I think it before AEW started. They tried to buy Wembley, and he would try to be the owner of Wembley. So I think, to me, there's like obviously a relationship there, and I wouldn't be shocked if this is a backdoor way to maybe for them to try to get a Wembley, try to get Wembley again. But I don't know. I don't necessarily see them leaving Wembley. I mean, I think they're going to do 50K. I think that's solid. They don't have a card announced, so it's just a matter of announcing matches for it. And look, if you're going to have Bryan Danielson in a world title match, I think it's going to move some tickets. If you have Adam Page in a world title match, I think it's going to move some tickets. And if you say for next year, that's going to move some tickets. I don't think there's going to be another 50% drop off next year. There'll be probably another drop off, but then at the same time, you have a year to see what this company does. And year after this year, every year of this company in AEW is radically different. So I don't know if they'll be suddenly hot next year, you know? And it's also a year where a year later after WWE. So will they be still hot? You know, or are they going to be cooling down? So I don't know.
This might be a me thing. I don't know if I've yet to decide if I love running the same venue for the same show every year.
Okay.
Because I don't like that for Grand Slam.
I don't like it for Grand. Well, technically, Grand Slam is not in the same. Did they move the tennis courts?
I thought it ended up being. Oh, I have no idea.
I remember there was a rumor.
They might have.
I remember I'm trying to remember if they moved tennis courts. I believe they did, or maybe they're doing it for this year.
Let me check.
Could they move into like a smaller one? By the way,
it's Arthur Ashe again.
Still this year? Was it Arthur Ashe last year?
Okay.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think there is. I don't think you're wrong in saying that there is like a diminishing returns thing. I mean, if you just go back all the way in a very small example, like NXT at Full Sail, like working, or like the Largo Loop, working like the same crowd over and over again, just started creating such a diminishing returns for that product that it starts hurting things. It starts hurting your ticket sales. Even if you're putting on great stuff, it just starts hurting it because the fans are like, I'm good.
I'm not saying leave England, by the way. I want everyone to leave England. I think that
there's plenty of other
that theme with All-In's good. I just think like a different building, maybe a slightly different location.
Well, you also can't discount that they're also going to run, I believe it's Dynamite and Collision out of Scotland this year as well.
Yeah, that's cool. They should do that more when they're over there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, even so, you don't have to do an 80K building.
I get you.
I get like doing a 50K building where it's absolutely packed is awesome for me. I mean,
50K is still going to be like an all-time number.
If they do if they did 30K, it's a great number. I just want to say, like, I want to preface that it's a great number.
It'd be one of the best numbers of the year for them.
It would be the best number of the year for them. But like, my main point is, I'm just thinking in terms of like the viewing idea, and like you want a packed building and loud and things like that. So
I get what you're saying. At the same time, like, you obviously ideally you want 80K in a packed building, but at the same time, you also have to remember, like, WWE as the comp is like, they do these stadium shows and they're tarping off half the stadiums for like SummerSlam, you know? So
I don't think they do that anymore.
They did that for, I'm pretty sure, last SummerSlam or 2 SummerSlam, whatever. What was the one?
2 SummerSlams ago.
2 SummerSlams ago, they 100%.
Yeah, that's my point, though. That was 2 years ago.
That's fair. I don't know.
I don't mind the tarping thing. I don't. I'm just saying I want the packed full building.
Yeah, we all do.
You know, like, that's what I want. And I don't know, even if they're hot next year, they can come close to filling Wembley again. Mm-hmm. That's a big ass building.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, different locations are fun. Different venues are fun. Like, you know, you get to do different things. And whatever. This is a lost conversation. I went off on a ramble.
No, I think it's a fair conversation. I think there is something to running different venues. I mean, for example, look at Clash of the Castle. They did it in, was it the O2 or whatever it was? Not the O2.
Yeah, this year. They did it in an arena rather than a stadium this year.
Yeah, but they moved from England to Scotland, right?
Cardiff, Wales, I think.
Cardiff, sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was Scotland, wasn't it?
It was from Wales to Scotland. Sorry.
Was the first one Wales? I thought the first one was okay. Well,
Cardiff.
either way, they're staying in sort of that Northern Europe region.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something to, and maybe that's kind of what the Dynamite and Collision in Scotland and when Scotland is going to be.
The taste
is them sort of tasting that audience and seeing if that's an idea for moving all in somewhere else.
Yeah. I just think like there's probably still a lot of places that want to see it. So it's like, you're just trying to hit those, and they don't go international enough to me. So obviously they only do it once a year. So it's like maybe that is a market to peek into. I don't know. They have stats and stuff that I don't, obviously, so they would know. But it was just an idea. And I think, different venue, different feeling.
I get you.
We'll see. I hope it's a success. I hope they're hot next year, so this question doesn't matter.
In case you're wondering, Rev Pro, Eve, and Progress all also have shows all in weekend this year as well. I
just don't know about them.
Yeah, I know. They Voice of Wrestling puts together like these sort of all in weekend indie stuff. They have a couple. Hustle, North and Attack has a show. Riot Cabaret has something. And I think that's also a thing of like, I think we're still a little too far because the only thing announced for any of these shows, I believe, is just Rev Pro is going to be Luke Jacobs versus, Michael Oku. Also scheduled to appear Stephanie Vaquer. That should be good.
I know she's facing Danny Luna at the Rev Pro show now. They announced that. So and that's the first match announcement, which is crazy.
They'll probably have AEW talent on that show as well. Now that they've kind of established more firmly established a relationship kind of with the two of them.
Yeah.
Because Orange showed up last time, or am I thinking of something else? No, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of the February whatever Osprey show was.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Anyways, well, that kind of transition as well, I think, into sort of this mid-year review conversation about like how promotions are doing, how wrestlers are doing. And I guess we'll kind of start there with wrestlers, right? Start there with promotions. What are some promotions that you think that are doing well? What are some promotions that you think are not doing well? What could promotions do to turn things around? Let's just kind of open up that conversation.
I think CMLL is doing fantastic this year.
Fantastica, if you will.
They're doing Fantastica this year. I just think like
they've done it a couple times technically.
There's weekly interest in what they do from the US fandom standpoint. That's what I'm basing it off of because that's what I see.
Yep.
And I feel like every single Friday night, at the very least, you will see clips, you will see thoughts about the shows, about Super Viernes, and that's great for them. That means a lot of people are, tuning in on the YouTube. And I think their service is actually well worth the price. It's very expensive per month, but you get a lot of wrestling. And most of the time, it's a lot of good wrestling.
Plus, not really an archive, but you get the archive of the recent stuff.
Yeah, you get the archive. You can go back.
I think just having a YouTube channel to service the US viewers.
Yeah. And I think there's a conversation to be had about CML's rise over these past couple of years to begin with. They went from a company that was like, obviously the wrestling's oldest company and whatnot, but they were on the brink of like being gone.
Correct.
Like
the pandemic, because of the pandemic and the lack of tourism for Mexico, they almost destroyed and completely killed CMLL. People might not remember that.
They had a messy few years before that, right? With the Dragon Lee and Roosh stuff.
Yep.
I think their owner or someone that had been running it like passed, so like it was handed off to someone, and they didn't connect
like that, and so Roosh.
No, honor. So you lose Roosh, you lose Dragon Lee. That's tough. You lose that family, which are two of your bigger stars. You lose Bandito as well. Bandito was there. because Bandito was in the Super Juniors, so he obviously was part of CMLL at the time. You pretty much lose everyone, and they're going to your not opponent, but they're going to your obviously sworn villain of Triple A, which is not great. And then the pandemic happens. The pandemic, brutal, absolutely brutal, to the point where you can't run shows, and that's how they make their money. So coming out of the pandemic, I think they didn't start running in since 2021 fully, which is terrifying to think for their business. But they had to rebuild, and they rebuilt with young stars, right? Atlantis Jr., Soberano Jr., now Mascara Dorada, who's, I think they were hot again, and he's just helped bring that up since he's debuted. But my point is, they went
real quickly. I think also a big part of them getting hot in a weird way, Rocky Romero
as well. He did a great job last year. You really look at that anniversary 2022 event as like the new launching point for them. That's when people started to, okay, there might be something here.
It was a great show too, that anniversary.
Yeah. And obviously, this is very on brand for me, but rebranding back to Mystico helps change a lot for them. Like he wasn't Mystico until, obviously he was Mystico originally, but he wasn't Mystico again until 2022 when he switched back. He got rid of the Caristico name, I believe. Maybe end of 2021. Sorry, 1 second. Let me double check. Either way, he switched back from Caristico, which I think, you just add that value. Yeah, it was middle 2021 he switched back, and like he's become one of the biggest draws in wrestling.
He was one of the biggest draws before that too, but still,
he's just like, now everyone watches, now everyone's invested, now everyone wants to know what's going on in CMLL. They went from out of sight, out of mind to,
well, they went to almost death. Out of sight, out of mind, to that anniversary show into in 2022, into 2023, which was a fantastic year top down with all of these young guys, Rocky Romero, New Japan involvement, obviously Fantastica Mania as well on top of the anniversary show, kind of was a dual threat there. And then you start a relationship with AEW, and then it's this all-time, almost feels like peso printing machine,
Yeah. And now,
you get these Mystico anniversario events, and they're just selling out day after day after day.
And they're more accessible now too. That helps a lot. It was tough to find shows for a while there.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like you sign up for YouTube, you can watch every show. And now they're part of the biggest interpromotional show in wrestling. And arguably the highlight, like their involvement with Vaquer and Mystico, Hechicero, it's only going to get better next year when the likes of Mascara Dorada and Soberano Jr., like when they can get involved, it's only going to get better.
We're in the midst of a CMLL visa issue in the States, and they're still doing great work and bringing
Atlantis Jr. is now the Ring of Honor television champion. Shouts out to him. Like, there's so much to be excited about CMLL. And I think their involvement tonight in Forbidden Door is like the cherry on top of U.S. success right now for them. They're going to run a fantastic U.S. show in July as well.
Do you know where that's booked, by the way?
They're in a gym.
Like a high school gym.
Yeah. I was like,
that's kind of disappointing.
It is, but hopefully it does well. It's in California. I'm sure it's selling well. But I think they could have done more. Maybe it's just a taste, you want to give a taste. Let's see how this interests people. But yeah, I'm so happy about CMLL. I'm very invested in CMLL, and they're one of my favorite promotions to watch now. And it's an easy watch. I think they're the easiest watch in wrestling. That makes sense. Like, you just turn on a show. That was good. All right. And just move on with your day.
They're a good, like, short 2-3 hours of fun wrestling.
Yeah, which I appreciate these days.
Mhm.
Wrestling can be tough to watch lately for me sometimes. So when it's easy to watch, I appreciate it.
I'll also shout out another good promotion I think this year, which sort of from the start of this year didn't look too hot, and then it turned into holy shit! I think we actually have something in Pro Wrestling Noah. The start of this
Who would
year,
have thunk?
who'd have thunk? You and I coming on here after the New Year show, just burying the garbage that was Kota Ibushi versus Marufuji. Now again, Ibushi gets injured and all this sort of stuff, but continuing to fight
He
through
was
it.
injured.
He goes in injured and then injures himself worse, and it's just the worst thing you've ever seen. But then all of a sudden, everyone just sort of writes off Pro Wrestling Noah after that moment, and then like a month or two later, it's like, hold on a second, I think Noah has starting to have some good stuff, and then by time June rolls around, you're like, Noah is on a hot streak of some really fun, good shows, some solid stuff. Kaito Kimi is doing good work. The new All Rebellion faction is fun. You have New Japan involvement and Gabe Kidd. Oh, that was a pretty solid main event match between the two of them. Obviously, they're working with other companies like Dragon Gate as well. The Limit Break shows are great.
Yeah.
Jack Morris has been fantastic this year. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. And now we're bringing in the brother of the Fridge into the company, so that should be great. Like, plus obviously now they have the WWE involvement, and you're bringing AJ Styles against Marufuji, an undoubtable dream match.
That destination show is incredible.
I think CMLL has had a better peak in the first half this year, but Noah has been on the slow climb over the past 6 months, where if they just continue that ascent, I think they could just be one of the best this year.
They started at the bottom with that first show. Like, it was rock bottom as a viewer.
Going into that New Year's show, everyone was like, who gives a shit about Noah?
And it's been a meteoric rise. I think going with Wagner first, giving him the belts, doing something different was like, oh, okay. I'll watch you. I will see what's going on here.
Oh, I didn't even mention it. Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf, one of the best tag teams of the year.
Yeah, you have that. Then you really start to watch what they're doing with Kaito. It's like they're not only getting behind him again. He has taken the bull by the horns and has run with being the guy in Puro to me. He watched Okada leave, he watched all these guys leave. He's like, I'm going to be the guy. And you're going to like it. And that has helped Noah a lot. He is now their champion. He is absolutely should be their champion. I don't think he should be losing anytime soon. And, I think they have so much confidence in him that they've put him against a returning Yoichi in their biggest show of the year at Destination. It's like, I don't know. It's just Noah's very exciting, and it's nice to say. And, it brings us into an N1 that we don't know the lineup yet, but it's starting off hot. There's no Jake Lee, so that's a big win.
It could be a really good N1.
It could. You look at Kaito, Yoichi, Kano, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., maybe Galeno Del Mal.
Woo!
Maybe Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane. They've moved them up to heavyweight. They may just put them right into that.
Jack Morris.
Obviously, you have Jack Morris.
Could you have New Japan involvement? Could you have WWE involvement?
Right. There's a lot of interesting questions going to the N1, but they have their biggest show of the year coming, and top to bottom, that looks like the best Noah card I've seen since watching Noah, truthfully. Like, there's a lot of good matches on it.
Yeah, a lot of great matches. On paper, you look at it like this should be great.
Right. So I'm excited for Noah. I'm happy we're here with Noah. The unfortunate part is while we're here with Noah, we are not there with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
No, I think New Japan this year has had a real rough time. Top stars leaving. You have 2 top stars leaving at the beginning of the year. Obviously, Jay White leaving at the latter
star, obviously.
Leaving last year. The top star in the company for a decade or whatever of Okada, all leaving. You have a roster that after all those guys left, turns out not really much there. You have a lot of the older guys who are slowing down, and you have a lot of these younger dudes like Evil, Sonata, David Finlay that just
Hey, you leave Evil out of this.
that for the most part not working for the most
Yeah.
part. And I think there's that generation is not serving it. And then at the same time, you have this newest generation, the Sujis, the Shodas, the Yu Yu
Yuyas.
Uemoras, the Renderitas, that people feel like they're like, hey, this generation does work. Let's push them. And they're sort of like upsetting people. I think
It feels like though.
I think in the same breath, you also have a lot of New Japan fans really going after them a little too much. But I get it. I get being upset and disappointed. I think that's a good word.
Here's my hot take. We started pushing the young people, right?
Yeah.
They've all had world title matches this year except for Yu Yu Uemura.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember any of them?
He's won a title. He's at least won a title too.
Do you remember any of them? Fondly?
No, not really. I mean, Shota, no.
I know some people really like the Shota one. I thought it was fine, but it was like nothing groundbreaking for the match and the size of that match that it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ren Naruto one, exactly what I expected.
Yep.
And the Yoda Tsuji one was a big letdown for me because he was facing Naito. He won the New Japan Cup. So, like, are they ready?
I think disappointing is the best word I can describe New Japan.
And Yu Yu Uemura stinks, so
and Ren Narita, we're not even discussing.
Ren, he's doing his job. That is the job they decided for him.
Yeah.
Yu Yu Uemura stinks.
Disappointing is the right word. It's just you lose these top guys, and the idea is that you have to bump up these next group of people, and there's just
Matt Riddle and
which look
too.
I get bringing in Riddle and Nemeth as a potential band-aid to tide stuff over as you try to like build more people up real quickly because you just lost Okada. And no, I get it. Are those the right guys you bring in? No, but those are probably the biggest guys that are free agents that you could bring in. I get it. It didn't really work. And a lot of things didn't really work. And there's a lot of things that aren't working in New Japan.
I want to give them credit, though. Because I do think New Japan deserves a little credit. One, the G1 has been fixed in terms of formatting. That's when a lot of interest in New Japan returns for people. That was even when their roster was stacked. That's how that went.
Yeah.
You know, what Wrestle Kingdom, Dominion, G1. That is how people watch New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. They've also gone with...
I think the New Japan Cup was good this year.
Yeah, it was good. The final was obviously great. Shout out Hiroki Goto. He returned. He returned
to form.
May not have tied she in the G1. Yeah, see, this company stinks. I'm getting emotional again. But they also went with El Desperado, and I think that's like the smartest thing they can do.
That's why I think disappointing is the right word, because it's like they're actively trying.
Yeah,
it's just things happen where it just doesn't work out.
It just I give them credit for trying.
They brought in Riddle and Ziggler as an attempt to, as a band-aid, like I said, to tide things over. It just didn't work out. They did the New Japan Cup, which was a great moment to elevate Yota Tsuji, and then they had the match that wasn't as good with Naito. You have Moxley's title reign, which I think is working, but there's a lot of people that don't like it, and
I don't think it's working.
And there's a lot of people that don't like it.
For New Japan interest, I don't think it's working.
A lot of the fan base completely reject the idea of Moxley, and I think part of that is the whole AEW thing.
Fair, but yeah, I liked Moxley as champion. I just don't think it's hit where maybe we hoped for.
I think a lot of the reasons not hitting is, I think it's doing what people want, but weirdly, the New Japan, a lot of the U.S. New Japan fans, or non-Japanese speaking New Japan fans that I know about, are rejecting it.
If it was 5-star matches, they wouldn't care.
I think that's fair. I think the match quality has decreased a lot, and I think that's also part of it.
For sure.
I think
that's why
El Desperado is a good solid attempt that I do think has worked. I think the G1 looks great, and it could be great. But again, this is all on paper. We'll have to see how it is in practice.
Yeah, that has been their entire year. On paper, it looks good, but then it happens, you know. And for the most part, beyond Wrestle Kingdom, I think it's felt that way. Though I thought Dominion was a good effort, for the most part.
Mhm.
But like for me, from here on out, you need a successful G1. You need to continue going with Desperado because he's maybe besides Naito your most over wrestler right now. Because Naito's Naito, so it's like,
Can I say something about Desperado?
sure, it's your show, buddy.
I thank you for the permission. I think Despy is a better replacement for Jushin Thunder Liger than Hiromu.
They're both old, so it doesn't matter. But
But Despy, I think, has more of that mobility than Hiromu. He, to me, is more exciting, and maybe that's just a personal taste. But I think he has more of that character.
They both wear masks.
That could be part of it. I don't know. I don't know. There's something about Despy that I think I don't know. I'm more connected to Despy than I am Hiromu, and it could just be me. But there's something about Despy, this intangibleness, that to me reminds me of Liger more than Hiromu does. Hiromu was the big star at the time, and it makes sense. But I don't think he's lived up to that Ligerness too much. And to me, there's something about Despy that has more so on an international scale than Hiromu. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a hot take. That's probably
no.
not.
I get what you're saying. I think it's very important they have both of them right
Agreed.
now, especially.
Oh yeah,
And they're both gonna be used to get over the young generation. And I think it'll be more successful than how the world title young generation gets elevated. Which I think is maybe a long-term topic that we don't have time to talk about today. But like, are you more excited right now for the future of the IWGP World Heavyweight Division, which is Yota Tsuji, Gabe Kidd, Shota Umino, Yu Uemura, and Ren Narita? Or are you more excited for the likes of Kosei Fujita and Kevin Knight and Doki and Master Wato? And like, to me, that excites me more because I think they have a better shot.
yeah, and I think
big
that,
matches.
and I think maybe that's what it is. There is something about Desperado, especially Despy's big week, that feels Ligerific to me. Ligerific, new word. That feels Ligerific to me because one of the things that was so exciting during a lot of dark periods in New Japan was Liger in the junior division. And I think Despy, to me, is more interesting and has more interesting stuff going on with a lot more different people. He has these connections, I think better connections, more interesting connections. I thought Despy's Invitational was more exciting than Hiromu's, whatever Hiromu's thing was a couple years ago. I don't remember what it was even called. Where it was just like a bunch of people and it happened. I think Despy has more interesting stuff to me happening and has that more of the excitement that I think could lead to a brighter future and keep that excitement, keep that light on for New Japan. I think he's that light that can push things forward, much like Liger was back in the day for New Japan.
Liger felt like at one point the guy in New Japan, and Desperado right now kind of feels like the guy for New Japan. So I see what you're coming from.
Yeah.
And they should keep running with that, keep having a main event big shows. He defends against Doki this week. That's a match that I'm excited for. Like that. That's how Desperado works. I think Doki's exciting. Doki's also ridiculously young, I've learned. Like hauntingly young. Like I was like, this guy's gotta be like,
he's 12.
But like you look at Doki and you kind of think he's like, oh yeah, he's probably pushing like, I don't know, 40 soon.
Sure. Mid-30s maybe.
Nope, he's not.
Do you have an age? Or is
do I have an age? I do personally have an age. He's only 32.
That is actually younger. That's
Yeah.
not too much younger, but it is younger.
But it's younger.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and it's exciting. That's why I count him as the future of the junior division, because some people. Desperado was a late bloomer.
Mhm.
Look at him now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but New Japan keep rolling with Desperado. I think they'll be rolling with Naito after tonight, which makes sense. You can feel how you want about Naito. That makes the most sense for their ticket sales.
I'm giving adjectives to all these promotions. CMLL, exciting.
Noah,
what's the best word? That ramping up, sort of like something.
inviting.
Inviting's a good word. New Japan, disappointing. AEW, frustrating.
There we go. We kick it over to AEW. AEW, yeah. It's frustrating as hell.
Frustrating as a fan to watch.
We're going into a Forbidden Door card that, I think is going to be a great show.
Great on paper. Very exciting.
Probably gonna be one of the best shows of the year. Probably.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just how this goes with these shows. And I think they've put a lot of work this year, as opposed to the other 2 years, into telling the stories on this show, which has, in a way, made it better. But boy, is it a frustrating time. They're not hot. That's not a hot company right now.
Yeah.
As much as you want it to be, as much as people want it to be, it's not. And yes, they're going to sell 10,000 tickets tonight.
But they crawled to 10,000 tickets.
I was going to say they should be selling 10,000 tickets tonight. Look at the card. See the card. They signed Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, Mercedes Moné this year. And yet I sit here and sometimes I just feel like with AEW, there should just be so much more going on that I'm excited about at all times. Let me ask you, what has been your favorite story in AEW this year?
I'm thinking. I'm also looking up the attendance for the past Forbidden Doors and the last time they were in UBS Arena. First one, United Center in Chicago, 16,000. Forbidden Door 2023, 13.6. This year, crawling to 10K.
So I'll give them the slight idea of New Japan does not have as much anticipation on their end, obviously.
Yeah.
So that hurts. But AEW has so much talent, and you're now involving CMLL and Stardom. So it's not really that much of an excuse. Also, your main event of this show is just AEW versus AEW. So
sure.
Can't even blame New Japan.
Asana Bonnie in the chat. Elite Stong, he means Sting. Elite Sting was one of the more exciting things. That is true. I think Elite Sting was solid. I think it was well booked and well put together. But that also has the Ric Flair of it all that upset a lot of people.
I think Revolution marked the end of an era in AEW, and obviously it did. Dynasty was all about this new era, right? The Dynasty era, blah, 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 blah. And I still think we're trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah, I think
and that's why I'm frustrated.
I think the Ospreay coming in was solid, and I've liked what Ospreay has done pretty much the entire time.
I think Monet has found it since she could start wrestling.
I was about to say Monet found it, but that's months of not doing anything. Basically,
well, they didn't have to do that. That's the thing. They didn't have to bring her in to do nothing.
But I think that's what I'm getting at is that there are moments where I'm this year that are solid, good things that I enjoyed, but then there's always some aspect of it where I was like, but why did they do this? But this was annoying, or I ignored it. It was still good, but it was a part of it.
We talked about the Elite earlier, and that brings me to Okada. Are you besides the little comedy bits?
Which it's Okada. Why are we doing no comedy bits?
Is Okada doing anything for you?
No. I think I think the problem is with Okada right now is that we've leaned more into the comedy of his character, which the comedy of his character is that he says the word bitch and that he fake cries, which at first was fun, but now we're doing it too much. That subtlety hammer. Plus, on top of that, you then have this Ultimate Guerrero fiasco, which is just like
that's
God.
not his fault. Obviously, it's not Okada's fault.
Yes, if that match booked way better, which by the way, that TK interview on Observer, they talked about Ultimo Guerrero, and Dave was like, "What happened?" And Tony Khan pretty much shut it down and didn't want to talk about it, which he said was a low light on the build and doesn't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about my frustrations? It
But
starts with that man that you just named.
But real quickly, I think that if that match was great, then less people would be sour on the Okada right now. Because if he's doing the comedy stuff and he's having great all-time matches, that's one thing. But if he's having bad stuff, then it's like this whole thing. Who cares? You ruined Okada. Mass fan in the chat. I'm enjoying the women's division more than I ever have. They also say Sting retirement run, everything is Swerve title reign. But I will say that thing about the women's division. I do think the women's division has increased a lot with Monet. I think the Mariah May storyline, now that that's kicking up into gear, actually has turning into like, oh, she actually might win the title now. It's coming to a close. I think that's getting more interesting.
It's one of those situations where it's like credit where credit's due. The women's division has kicked into gear, but it had to. Once you sign Mercedes Moné, we did a whole entire segment about that.
Yeah,
when she was getting signed, it's like you have to now give real focus to this, and you're seeing it. And for the most part, at least for me with Forbidden Door, those two matches has had some of my most interest on this show. Like the Mercedes Moné Vaquer match hasn't needed build, but they've had really good video packages, and they had the good thing on Collision yesterday, and it's like, all right, that match sells itself, right? That's like two of the best on the planet going head to head. That sells itself. And they've put in the work on the Mina Tony story. It started before Double or Nothing. I have to give them that credit. They've been telling the story for a long time, and they've made Mariah May the center of it, because Mariah May ultimately is going to be the center of this division in very short order. I appreciate that. So I agree with Mavs fan 100%. It's nice for that not to be frustrating. That has been my frustration in the past couple of years, as we've talked about on the show. The problem is the other stuff is now my frustration, right? And that if we could all just click at the same time, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I think the Ospreay Swerve story, very good. I think Swerve has done everything he can as world champion. Samoa Joe as champion was great.
Yep.
Loved Samoa Joe as world champion. But
there are highlights. There are blips of highlights all over the place. Sting's retirement,
Sting's retirement, obviously fantastic, but it's the underneath stuff that's like not clicking. And all I can think of right now, because he just came back as MJF, but like there's a lot more through the year. It's like MJF doesn't leave my head now because he's always here.
Yeah.
But there's just so much that, the tag division.
What tag division?
This is supposed to. I remember day one. This is going to be the best tag team division in wrestling. It hasn't been the best tag division in wrestling in a very long time.
At least a year.
I just forgot who the champions were. It's the freaking Young Bucks. Don't get me started on the trios division, which was suffering and suffering and suffering. The international title.
It's Ospreay. Strong.
It's Ospreay now, but before that, it was Orange Cassidy again, which did nothing for me. And then Roddy, which was kind of random, but okay. But he didn't really have title matches on TV. And now it's Ospreay, and I completely forgot that too because he's been doing the world title stuff. But that's fine. TNT title.
Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland did his best.
Solid stuff. Yeah.
He did his best. The injury sucked. He did his best. TBS title. That has been good since Willow got it. Who's champion before Willow?
No memory.
Julia Hart. Yeah, that stunk. Because she was hurt. Willow should have been champion far earlier. We talked about that. But that's the thing. Frustration. It's all these little things. Well, this should have happened, and this should have happened, and this could have happened. Tonight, I want AEW to be at its very best because I have to hear this is where the best wrestle, and this is for the sickos. Then just do it tonight. That's what this show's all about. It is all about that.
And that on the Dave Wrestling Observer interview they did with Tony Khan, he mentioned how he sort of sees Forbidden Door as sort of those old NWA super shows where they would bring in like all of the territory guys for one big massive show.
Yeah.
I don't discount the one-to-one there for Forbidden Door here, but it's got to be great. It's got to be a great show. You have all this talent, it's got to be great. It can't be convoluted. It has to be great, and it can't be convoluted like last pay-per-view with all these interferences. You have all these stories that can't be involved. We have to have finishes. We have to all these things.
There's 14 matches on the show. I'm looking over it now. How many matches should involve any outside involvement? Maybe like 2. Like maybe 2 matches total can have outside involvement to me. The first one is the Tony Mina.
Yeah.
Because of you need to have it.
Which is also, by the way, a frustration that that's undoubtedly a match that involves the person on the outside.
But you have to have it because that's been the basis of the match. And then the other one for me, I mean, I'm not really I don't care about the Elite Trios. They can do whatever the hell they want with that.
That could have Jack Perry involvement.
Yeah, exactly. But the other one for me, I do think is that it's probable to have some sort of involvement will be Don Callis in the
world title
Ospreay scenario. I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't affect the match because that was my big I really liked Omega and Ospreay last year, but the butt was Don Callis.
Yeah,
I don't want that to be happening in this match. The butt. We're back to the cheeks.
It's just been very frustrating, and I think a lot of that frustration is a lot of the conversation to be had about AEW. A lot of the conversation of what is their identity, and I think it's a lot of people individually answering, "This is what it should be based on how I feel it should be, what the changes should be." And I think it's a very, very broken up sentiment of this is what AEW should be, because AEW should be what I want it to be, but AEW does not have a distinct identity to really decide that. And even when it had an identity, I think early on, there was still a good portion of people that say this is not what I want this to be.
I do gotta say it's better than the end of last year, but the end of last year I was ready to stop watching. So that's take that for what you want.
Just real quickly, UBS Arena stuff. So like I said, 16,000 the first Forbidden Door, 13.6 at the second Forbidden Door, which was last year, obviously. This year, they're crawling to 10K. They'll probably cross it on walk-ups. Last year, when they were in the UBS Arena for April 5th, and obviously Long Island, the total attendance was 7,000. So they're doing better than last year in UBS Arena. They're not doing as good for Forbidden Door last year in Toronto in the Scotiabank Arena. Speaking of Money in the Bank. But they are, in the middle. We tried a lot of promotions. Thoughts on WWE? Obviously, I think we can't really walk away without kind of talking about how they're doing mid-year. They've been kind of doing their best run in
the hottest company in pro wrestling. It's not close.
Yeah, best run of all time. They sold out Madison Square Garden, where a couple of years ago it was a pitiful scraping
into that building.
It was
what's their adjective? I mean,
outstanding, probably.
Booming's
probably better, because outstanding doesn't necessarily. Outstanding sort of also describes many different aspects of the company, because for me, booming is better. They're a company that's booming, but it's a company that I'm not interested in.
Company that has a lot of bad press to it this year too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And some people making connections that it feels like they're doing a storyline about it.
Yeah. WWE is really it.
Well, by the way, I don't know if I highly doubt, by the way, that the Liv Morgan Dominic sort of thing.
I don't think so
These
either.
implications. Well, that's the reason I don't think that is anything to do with the Janelle Grant lawsuit is because Triple H has stated that he has not read the lawsuit. So how could he obviously book that to be part of that sort of reference there if he's never read the suit? Doesn't make any sense.
No matter what, it's bad optics. That whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a bad time to do that storyline right now.
for sure. So,
anyways,
WWE is weird to talk about because you have to consider that part, the Vince stuff, the Vince Janelle Grant lawsuit, and all that. But at the same time, they couldn't be doing better in terms of overall interest.
Yeah, their business is doing an all-time highs right now.
All-time high. They signed a million-year deal with Netflix for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
they signed another deal for SmackDown, another deal for NXT,
possibly even a money-making deal for NXT,
which says a lot. Every pay-per-view is hot.
Yeah,
and sold out.
You just said earlier today that SmackDown Madison Square Garden segment was hot that you enjoyed, right?
Oh yeah, they nailed it. And a hot crowd does the world of good for wrestling, right? A hot crowd can make many segments just great.
Yeah,
and that's what they have seemingly every show.
Yep,
every show that I watch or pay attention to, they have a hot crowd. They're just doing things like in terms of product only. They have The Rock come back and steal the wrestling world.
Yep.
He was The Rock again. And you have Cody and getting his moment at WrestleMania. And I thought night 2 of WrestleMania was excellent overall as a show. And we're going into the second half of the year where there's SummerSlam and they're potentially putting Solo Sikoa in that spot, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like once upon a time, they had to book the biggest possible match to get people in the building.
Which that biggest possible match was Brock Lesnar coming back.
It was Brock Lesnar coming back every time.
Now,
face whoever.
Now, legitimately, do they need Brock Lesnar? Obviously, there's the whole Janelle Grant stuff, but even then, do you need him right now?
There's no reason to bring him back.
It would be there's potential. Like that's the thing. It's like they could do better business, but they're already doing great business. So I don't like it. For a long time, WWE has always felt like that they could be doing this stuff right now, and that they were leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Now it feels like they are no longer doing that.
Mm-hmm. They have the guy that they want to lead them forward with Cody. They're doing and they're staying hot with no Roman, no Rhea Ripley, no Charlotte Flair, no Becky Lynch, no Seth Rollins until just now. Like they're doing all this without so many top stars.
Yeah. Which to me, you go back to all of those
without Brock Lesnar.
With all of those board John Cena, if all of The Rock was there, but they're still doing great. With all of those like board member meetings of like, hey, WWE, can you explain year after year why your company is doing really poor in terms of business? And their response is, well, this summer we've lost a lot of our top stars. They've lost a lot of their top stars and they're still hot, which to me, again, showcases that there is no real correlation between losing top stars and business metrics. There is some, but if you still have a hot company and you're booking stuff for your fans and everyone's enjoying it, everything makes sense for the audience that's watching your product, and you still have at least some people that are hot. AEW is missing Adam Cole, Adam Page, Adam Cole, all the Adam.
A lot of people.
A lot
the
of
Adams.
Adams.
The Adams family.
Kenny Omega. They're missing a lot of top guys. But they still have top stars, MJF, the Young Bucks. They still have a lot of Ospreay, Swerve. They still have a lot of these people.
Monet.
But the company's not hot. WWE is. It's not necessarily the fact that their stars are gone. It's the fact that the booking isn't working for the audience that you're playing it to.
Right. And the idea is what happens when the stars do come back. It's like, is there another level to this? There is. I saw it in the build up to WrestleMania. There is another level to
The
this.
stars coming back could make your business better, but they also could do nothing.
And it won't matter. So far for SummerSlam, they have 46,586 tickets sold out of 54,340 as of June 24th. That's really good. They're probably going to sell out that show, right?
That's as much as All In.
Bash in Berlin, they already have sold 12,000 of their 13,000 tickets, which is at the end of August. That's probably going to sell out as well.
And if
They're selling.
If Gunther wins the title, I imagine they're going to open that up a little bit more.
They're selling out every show.
Yeah,
they're
booming.
selling out every show. Their business is indeed booming, and
the question then becomes, how long can that maintain?
AEW is asking as well, because once this, you can't stay hot forever.
Yeah.
I watched Who Killed WCW.
What was your conclusion? Who killed it?
The same people that I thought killed it before, which is everyone essentially.
Pretty much.
Bischoff, Hogan,
Nash,
every big-headed person in the room.
Yeah.
Vince Russo made sure it died. It goes on and on and on. You knew who killed it.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Not every. I'm not saying WWE's dying. They're never dying. Okay, they're bulletproof now.
Yeah.
And have a lot of money for it. But like, they can't stay hot forever. But I don't see them not being hot the rest of this year. These international pay-per-views were the smartest thing they could do.
And then they bring in, by the way, they stay hot for the rest of the year, and then it's WrestleMania season.
Yep. When The Rock comes back. Does it all.
Does his retirement series.
They don't have CM Punk either. I mean, I know he pops in and out, but he's not there either. So.
But still yet to prove if he is a solid draw in that company yet, I guess, technically.
He
hasn't, he's done one match and it was the Royal Rumble, so it's
when he shows up, they're sold out. But does that matter? They're always sold out.
Yeah.
When they do the ratings, I guess he does well, but that's about it.
Yeah.
My point is, it's WWE. Business is booming.
Even if we're not fully on board, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. All the people that hate on it in WWE on social media. Twitter's not a real place.
I hate it.
I hope everyone knows that. Twitter's not a real place when it comes to wrestling. It really isn't. You can hate WWE all they want. They are going to keep packing in those buildings.
It's what's interesting about Twitter is that Twitter does not affect WWE at all. Right?
No.
But I feel like it affects AEW a lot.
That's the difference between the size of the company, I guess.
I think that's certainly part of it, and the type of the audience, the type of the fans that they're going after, and that's one of the reasons. I think that's also one of the reasons why I hate Twitter is that just like it feels like we are. I don't know. Just if something dumb happens on Twitter and people start dunking on AEW in some capacity, then they're just going to lose a bunch of fans. It's just like, well, then I don't want to be engaged in this sort of thing. But it's important. I don't know. Everyone I think that is an AEW fan wants to like AEW, and me.
Oh, they sure do.
And me getting off of Twitter or trying to limit my amount of time on Twitter is, I think, part of the fact of like I'm trying to enjoy this product. If I go on Twitter, I'm going to enjoy this product less. That makes sense.
Yeah. See, the problem we talked about, the problem with AEW is a frustrating product.
Yeah,
it's a frustrating product that can be better. And I'm hoping that this show tonight is the start of that, because a lot of it has been well built.
Yep.
It's a great card.
Yep.
Danielson versus Shingo, Monet versus Vaquer, Swerve versus Ospreay, Naito versus Moxley. You get the point. It's a really good show.
Yeah.
And they booked Mystico. How do you not rise from that? How do you not get better from that?
And I can't wait to talk about it tonight, obviously, with you, Scotty. We're reviewing the show immediately after Forbidden Door on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever you're watching it now, on audio that'll be uploaded the next day. We'll get our immediate live reactions for the Forbidden Door plus the media scrum that happens in conjunction with the show. You'll get all those thoughts.
It's gonna be a party.
So make sure you join us. Make sure you're awake. Drink all your get hyped up on Mountain Dew.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Shout out Ricky Bobby.
And join us for our live thoughts on the Forbidden Door tonight or tomorrow morning.
Is there a crazy Mountain Dew flavor out there?
Oh yeah, 100%. What do you mean? Right now they have the red, white, and dew flavors for the 4th of July.
All right. If everyone wants to tune in, I will drink one live at the beginning of the show tonight, live review. Because I'm gonna have to keep myself awake. Now I have to go get it, which is tough, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
I'll get something. I don't know what I would get, but I don't
maybe I won't. I probably won't drink it live. I'll probably need it way before that. But listen, I'll show you the bottle to show I drank it. Okay, just tune in. It's gonna be fun. It's a live free review. We are gonna be off the hinges. Ryan's gonna be exhausted. I'm definitely gonna be exhausted too. And we'll do some scrum stuff, not too much. We've kind of altered that, but be there live on this YouTube channel. Subscribe, set a notification. We haven't said it live yet, but we will later. But just join us. Let's have a party. It's Forbidden Door. Live from the UBS Arena. Yeah. Or more like, yeet!
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. Scotty, things to plug, match of the week.
Oh man, we have fun here.
Like a jump scare every single time.
First thing to plug, yeet!
We got a yeet jump scare.
We got a yeet jump scare. You need to make one that has our background still.
I know, I realize
even more of a jump scare because nothing else changes. Anyways, follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter. That's where you can see all my thoughts on Forbidden Door tonight, mid-show, or all the Joshi I cover. If you want to listen to my Joshi shows, I've got 2 5-star Joshi show each and every week. July is a big month for Joshi. We got Summer Destiny 2024, which we're previewing next week, by the way. Holy hell, we have gotten there quick. We'll be talking Stardom and everything going on there. They have a very busy month coming up. The 5-star Grand Prix is just around the corner. So much more. Also, check out Stardom Road, which just had an episode go up this past week, talking the Io Shirai era of Queen's Quest. We will be doing the Momo Watanabe era this coming week. We'll record it this week, and they'll be out the week after. Sorry, brain fried for a second there. And if you're interested in articles, I'll be writing again because I got some time on my hands. I am planning to do a 2024 version of the Future of Joshi series that I did last year for Voice of Wrestling. So if you want to learn more about that, I'll have that done. Match of the week. What did I watch this week that I haven't talked about? Nothing. Jeez. It was kind of an empty week in wrestling this week in terms of like things happening. So
this upcoming week as well.
Yeah. So I gotta think of what did I not talk about.
I like how you said it was an empty week, and there's the two major companies have 2 major shows happening this week. Well, it's pretty empty. It feels like typically there's like 9 billion shows to be a part of.
That's true. There's a lot of wrestling coming up. That's the thing, This week was like the calm before the July storm.
Yeah.
July's just got a lot. Yeah. Starting with Forbidden Door. I'm going to count this as July because it's going to end in July. But thank you. I'll be here till
July.
Over. Till July. Again. I watched Umanzai versus Hideki Suzuki this week. That was for the Triple Crown Championship. It's the most I've seen Hideki Suzuki try in ever, maybe. So that was pretty good. Umanzai, good. Very good.
I'll continue my match of the week. Scotty, did you see any of the rest of the show?
Nope.
Well, I have a recommendation for you that was also on that show that I liked more than the main event.
Oh.
You will be shocked to learn that my favorite match on the 624 All Japan show was, in fact, the Yuma Aoyagi versus Kirishiro Tokyo Japan no DQ match. I was shocked that I really liked this match. It was a little boring to start, but that gear by the end, by time Tokyo Japan jumps swanton bombs through a table off of like a 12-foot ladder, by the time that happens to the end of the match, it is great wrestling. All-time great wrestling. It's so good. And it's
All
shocking.
time great
Not all
wrestling.
time. Another play. He's
All
no Holy Demon Army out here. He's not Masala. But it is shocking how great this match ended up turning out with Kuroshio Tokyo Japan in it, no less.
Yeah. Didn't have that on my bingo card today.
No. I would, if I also had to guess, I would also say recommend Fuminori Abe versus Sekio Tachibana for the Gaora TV title. I thought that was really good. And that was also like 12 minutes, so that's real quick, easy.
Oh, you know what tomorrow is?
Monday.
Yeah, the great debut of Katsuhiko
Nakajima. Interesting. What's his match?
He's fighting Takanori Ito for the UWF Rules title.
All right.
And there's this entire video. There's this incredible video of him getting explained to by the Galate or Ladette president what UWF rules are, because he doesn't know them.
Perfect.
So I hope the match is ding ding. He knocks him out. It's over.
Perfect.
I will give that 5 stars if he knocked him out in the first 5 seconds.
That's hilarious. But yeah, that Tokyo Joki, no DQ, Kuroshio Tokyo Japan Yuna Aoyagi match.
That's just Jiro.
It's Jiro. Ikemen Jiro. Was great. Was fantastic.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
2 All Japan shouts.
Yeah. So I recommend that
week.
I said it was going to come out last week, but from scheduling stuff, it didn't happen. So it's going to come out this week. It has been recorded. It's in the can. It'll be coming out this week. Probably on Tuesday. It might be either Monday or Tuesday. One of the two is going to be the bonus episode that I talked about of the ballot on Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod. On the $5 tier, I have all my episodes of the ballot, which is talking about the Observer Hall of Fame, about all the new inductees, all new people on the ballot this year, and their chances and the product, and talking about their career, talking about them as wrestlers, talking about their historical significance, all that stuff that you would talk about, a real deep dive into all these wrestlers' careers. This one is sort of a bonus episode where we are talking about, we've already done individual episodes on these guys, but instead we are talking more so about their run as a tag team, as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And hey, look, is that a Hall of Fame tag team? And that was an idea pitched to me by the guest on that show, which was Kevin Hare, one half of sort of the group behind the Voices of Wrestling 101 article series. Kevin Hare joined me on the ballot to talk about, Steen Erico and how great they are and whether or not they're Hall of Famers, and also a lot of other conversations about the Hall of Fame. So if you want to check that out, $5, patreon.com/countoutpod. I think the ballot series is some of the best stuff I've done individually. I really enjoy doing it. I've been having a lot of great conversations.
Look for Ring Post Radio.
What's that?
Look. Tough.
I said individually, didn't I? I think it's been really great. I think the ballot, I'm trying to sell the ballot here. It's been really good. And I really enjoy doing it with all of our guests. And I highly recommend checking it out because I've been having a lot of fun doing it. And I think we've had a lot of great conversations about wrestling.
How many Hall of Famers we got? Just give me a number.
Of people that kind of voting in?
Out of the new crop.
Out of just the new crop?
Yep. The ones that you're doing it on. How many new Hall of Famers will we have in the future, whether it be this year or next year or so on?
I think a lot of the conversations we have, I think Cody Rhodes is a solid contender for Hall of Fame. I think
one. We have one, everyone.
I'm thinking more. I think you're gonna have to hear the conversations to hear how they shape out.
There we go. That's the type of stuff we want to hear.
Because Cody Rhodes, I think, is to me the immediate, like, I think that could be a Hall of Famer. I think that is a Hall of Famer. I think the other guys, for a lot of these people, there are things that have to happen, and we go in depth on the ballot about who and why or what those things have to happen for these guys to be considered Hall of Famers, or what is missing from their case. A fascinating conversation that we had with Kevin Hare was the conversation about being a Hall of Fame workers, but not having a Hall of Fame career. And that sort of thing, and a weird thing, that sort of issue of the WWE crop of people, or people that were great in Ring of Honor, but like people no one really considers Ring of Honor. So it's a lot of great frank conversations on the ballot that I really enjoyed, that I've enjoyed having, and I think you should go check it out. Patreon.com/CounterPod, $5 tier. A lot of great other content on there as well. I've been trying to work on a new series as well for the Patreon, but that should be coming up shortly. Plus, there'll be a little bit of a content change, a little bit of the Patreon at the end of July, which I'll get more in depth on later. But for right now, patreon.com/CounterPod, $5 tier. All you got to pay a month to listen to the ballot, the sweet spot, all the bonus content we've done in the past. You will hear all that stuff. Ryan hasn't seen anything. Those 2 seasons of Ryan hasn't seen anything. You can check out all that stuff. We got to figure out some more Patreon content from us. We do have ideas, but we got to figure out how we're going to do any of that stuff. Oh, wait, we do have an idea. I guess we should have done that, because technically the end of the quarter is this month. We could do that soon. We could do the beginning of the quarters. We wanted to do that, Scotty. I'm based on your reaction, I think you don't remember what we talked about.
My brain has been through it this week, so no, I have no.
That's fine. We'll talk about it the after we log off. But thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We'll be back tonight for our Forbidden Door instant reaction. I've been Ryan Knightsey. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Knightsey. Scotty Edwards at Scott E Wrestling. Whole network is Count Out Podcasts. You can subscribe to Ring Post Radio wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to our entire network and get a bunch of stuff. As Scotty said, Stardom Road, Ichiban Sweetcast, Your Dose of Death, Faces and Feels Cast is a great show. Jumping Knee Pod, we just talked about All Japan. Jumping Knee Pod is going to have an episode coming out this week, probably. I think it's definitely coming out this week. So that's an All Japan show that I really enjoy. So if you want more stuff, Count Out Podcast is where you're going to get it. So again, that's it. I think that's everything. I want to end it on a good note. I'm not going to end it on a fuck, marry, kill. I think I'm going to end it on a good note. I did have
worked all week for this, and you don't want to end it. What kind of yeet is that?
I don't want to upset Scotty. It's an FMK that will certainly upset Scotty.
No, give it to me now. You can do both these things. We're going to end it on a positive note, but now I need it.
I don't know. I don't.
Why would it upset me?
I don't think you're ready, Scotty.
Do it.
I think we gotta log off. I think it's
do it. No, I will not let you log off of this show. I will ban you from this thing. No, say it.
I don't know if I'm ready to say it. I'll walk it back then. I don't know if I'm ready to say it. I don't know if it's perfect. God.
Say it. The people want it, and when I say the people, I mean me.
I don't know, Scotty. I don't.
Did MJF do anything? We're gonna do the meter tonight for him?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think we'll just do the meter tonight. I think that'll just make more sense. All right, fine. I'll say it. Ready?
Say it, or I'm ending the show.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh Jesus.
Chase Owens.
I don't want to do this. Goodbye.